Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Cucchiara, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Cucchiara.
Welcome in. This is Joe Cucchiara with Real Estate Radio Live. We're excited to announce our new podcast series, no longer on the radio, but radio via the web. We're excited about continue to bring our education information to you, the listeners. Be sure to tune in. You could do that at RE Radio Live. And also be sure to remember, alongside with me is Bobbi Decker today, and Buddy as well. Anything about real estate that you need, buying, selling, be sure to always contact Bobbi Decker at area code 650-346-5352. Also, anything in the financing area, Joe Cucchiara, I could be reached at area code 408-838-9060. Got an exciting show for you today. We're going to launch into it any moment now. I'm going to turn it over to Buddy to do that for us.
Okay, we're actually going to take you a little bit of a travelogue today. You know, we've done a lot of shows from around the world, from Europe.
Yes, we have.
From the Hawaiian Islands, all across the United States. And today we're going to go to Central America. I have to tell you that a lot of people listened in to our program that covered the Huffington report on the 12 best places to retire. Mm-hmm. And there were a number of places in good old Central America. And number 11 on that list was Nicaragua. And we had a wonderful coincidence. So we're going to get on to Nicaragua today in very close personal detail. You know, we went to the National Association of Realtors convention in Orlando just a little while ago. Bobbi was honored for her efforts with the graying population in North America and around the world, and was honored with the Outstanding Service Award for 2016, a wonderful international award. Now, Bobbi's going to tell you about this interesting coincidence that occurred in that meeting, actually, shortly after one of the big seminars. Yes.
So we have consistently, Buddy and I and Joe talk about the internationalness of real estate all the time and how it's a global industry. And at the NAR event, it was very evident. I mean, Joe, you just couldn't hear all of the different languages that were being spoken. Mm-hmm. And then our newest member of SIR, which is Sotheby's International Realty, the affiliates from Nicaragua, was there, and it was Gail Geerling. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Bobbi. Hi, Buddy. How are ya?
We're doing great. Good to hear your voice again.
And it was
you
marvelous.
As well.
Here's the newest country. It's just so amazing, isn't it? The kismet and things that happen in the world that you when
it
you
is for sure. Well, welcome in, Gail. Good to have you with us. If you could maybe tell us a little bit, give us your insights into Nicaragua as we get started here, and just kick us off in the right direction. This is exciting.
Okay, well, first of all, Bobbi, congratulations, because as a fellow
indeed.
NAR member, I'm so happy for you getting that award. Well done.
Thank you.
So Nicaragua's in the spotlight these days. We're getting a lot of interest in the country that we didn't have before, and it's really exciting. I left Michigan, the very cold weather, about 20 years ago to come to this region, and have lived and worked in 4 countries in the region, and my absolute favorite and the place I call home is Nicaragua.
Well, it sounds very exotic and fun. It really does, Gail.
Yeah, give us a little bit of the history, climate, all the wonderful things that you have there.
Okay, well, probably 2 of the best things we have is our climate and the people. It's about 90 degrees year-round, never varies much more than 10 degrees off that temperature year-round. We do get cooler at night because it's a drier climate, so it's very, very comfortable. And we have about 320 days of sun a year here. So what's not to love? And most of the development is on the Pacific coast. So sun, beaches, sand, amazing people, amazing food, amazing culture. just anything you could possibly imagine that would be the perfect retirement or vacation destination, Nicaragua's got it. And I usually tell people when they come, welcome back to 1950, because the pace is slower here. People tend to eat healthier here, more connected to the earth, to nature. A lot of farmers, small farmers. And the people tend to be quite a bit more open and friendly than I sometimes find when I go back home to the U.S. these days.
And what made you go down there? Were you like dragged along as a baby?
No, I wish I'd have found Nicaragua as a baby, but I was actually recruited to help start the first ever development on the Pacific coast of Nicaragua, the first sort of first world style development, probably about 15 years ago, and to bring it to critical mass. And at the risk of sounding like my grandmother, at that time we had to cross rivers to get here with no roads, and we came in on horses with machetes and ox carts and things like that. It's come a long way in a very short period of time, but the locals thought we were absolutely crazy. They couldn't figure out why we would be coming in here and doing all this infrastructure in a place that before then they had never seen any type of development like we North Americans or Europeans might have seen. And they just thought we were nuts. What? You're not growing anything there? You're not grazing cattle there? What's that land worth? And we came in and changed this coastline big time. And it's now known as the Emerald Coast of Nicaragua. And we just inaugurated the new airport here earlier this year, as a matter of fact.
You've got an airport?
It's a small airport, but it's an airport, and we're taking it, yes.
Gail, that is so fun, because people just don't know what to think when you start talking about some of the southern countries, you know.
Yeah, so
you're right. Yeah.
So that's the territory you work in for Sotheby's, then, of course, on the West Coast.
Absolutely, I do sort of southern Pacific coast. I can cover, and our Sotheby's office does cover all the areas in Nicaragua, but I kind of mainly focus on the resort development areas.
I would assume that's probably the area where you get a lot of transplants, and the way you describe the climate, it sounds like the Californians would love to just move there. Not a big difference.
Californians love us, yes. The biggest difference is that we're back in the 1950s, so you can roll back prices quite a bit from what you'd spend in California for the same thing. So people really do love us. The other thing we have here is great surf. ESPN named one of our beaches one of the top 5 beaches in the world for surf. So we've got anything that you would have in like Southern California, the beautiful weather, the surf, but it's not as crowded, and there's a lot more availability now because Nicaragua's just kind of coming into its own. You know, years and years ago, people weren't even looking outside the U.S. to Nicaragua because they just didn't know. They hadn't really heard of Nicaragua before, and what they had heard was this kind of nebulous talk of the Contras and all of that, but it's actually been almost 30 years ago now that all that happened. So it's a totally changed country, and people are loving it.
Well, who are your buyers? Do they come from is it a global diversity type of thing, or are they concentrated?
It is good question, and it is to a certain extent. We do have people from all over the world. But primarily, I would say Americans and Canadians with a small expat population from Europe. But the Canadians, of course, anywhere that's cold. Again, I'm from Michigan, so the worst thing you want to do in your entire life is spend a winter that far north. It can become bitter in the winter up there. So anybody from Canada is always thinking about sunshine. So we get a lot of Canadians. We do get a lot of Californians, a lot of Texans. The connections in airlines are very good from LAX, from Dallas, from Miami. So all the places where you could get easy connections on flights. We also get a lot of people from New York and New Jersey.
Well, that's because the winters are ugly there too. Buddy and I are originally from New England.
Okay, there you go.
And we went back there in September, and of course it's gorgeous in New England and with the trees turning and everything, but you just have to live through one winter to never want to do it again.
That's it.
Hey, Gail, as we jump in here, what do you see as the primary amenities that draw people from around the world? I mean, this is wonderful information. So we want to try to, if we can, just really lay it out and spell it out as clear as we can for our listeners, because this is exciting stuff. We don't want to lose sight of what we're doing here. It's really exciting.
Sure. Well, primarily people come to Nicaragua because of the quality of life. Their dollar goes a lot further here than it usually does in the U.S., especially when someone is retired and they're living on a fixed income. Here we have great health and dental care at very low cost. We got fresh, healthy, locally grown food. We have tax breaks for tourism businesses. Nature is all around us, and there are a million ways to exercise here in nature, and it can be very intense like surfing, or it can be just calm and relaxed like walking on the beach. There's a big wellness culture in the expat communities here in Nicaragua. And one of the things that I personally really enjoy is household help at a fraction of the cost. My husband and I have homes here. We also have a home in Panama and in a couple other countries. And by far the least expensive yet most effective household help is here in Nicaragua. So I can have a full-time maid here where I might not be able to afford that somewhere else. So I guess probably the weather, the climate, comparing apples to apples, your dollar just goes so much further here. And with the influx of gated communities, the security is great. You never have to worry about it when you're in one of these communities. We have first world amenities just like everywhere else. We have shopping malls in Managua, but also on the beaches, we have developments now with multiple restaurants, clubhouses, bars, just about anything you could possibly want that you can get back in the States. You'll find it here in Nicaragua. It just might look a little different.
Wonderful.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Working and living in a global world often means you need competence, intelligence, and connectivity that can assist you to optimize results everywhere in your life. This is true in business, your lifestyle, and your living environments. When this means changes in your property requirements, Bobbi Decker and her team, working with the Sotheby's International Realty Network, can assist in optimizing your results. If you have residential real estate requirements in the San Francisco Bay Area or around the world, contact Bobbi. If the property needs are not in her area of expertise locally, she will vet the Sotheby's Realty agents in the appropriate area of the globe where you need expert assistance. For more information or assistance, contact Bobbi at 650-346-5352. Visit her website at www.bobbidecker.com or email bobbi.decker@sotheby'srealty.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Cucchiara.
For those, we're live from our podcast here, and we're talking to Gail in Nicaragua. She's with Sotheby's, and excited to be doing the show. About halfway through our show, excited to have Gail call in. We're going to continue. Just a reminder, too, with your real estate needs, buying, selling, anything to do with real estate, be sure to contact Bobbi Decker at area code 650-346-5352 or go to bobbidecker.com. You could also contact Joe Cucchiara with any of your financing needs at area code 408-838-9060, or you could always go to RERadiolive.com. Again, we're bringing Gail in from Nicaragua. It's been a great conversation. We're going to continue that now.
Okay, Gail, let's take a look at maybe a property that you've got listed. You've talked about the beautiful cost benefits. Maybe one of your listings that'll help us understand that cost benefit more directly when it comes to property ownership.
Okay. Well, there's a wide range of properties in Nicaragua, so your prices range as well from very low to very high. And we just listed at Sotheby's, and we're so excited about this, the most exclusive property in Nicaragua for $22 million. And I'm not going to feature that, but for anybody who's interested, please do give me a call.
How big is it?
It's enormous. It's about 110 acres. It's got a kilometer of beachfront. It has several guest cabanas with little kitchens. It's just an amazing, amazing property on the ocean, on one of the most pristine white sand beaches you could ever imagine. But it's probably out of a lot of people's price ranges, so I'm going to focus on I'm going to do two really quickly. I know you asked me for one, but I'm a realtor, so, what can I say?
Give us a couple.
Yeah, give us another.
The first one is for $895,000. It is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, wonderful, what we call a tree house, built out of Nicaraguan hardwoods, amazing finishes and handcrafted furniture, furnished on a white sand beach in a bay that is just absolutely gorgeous. This is a lock and leave property. This is under a hotel program with a branded hotel. And they pay 5% of your investment price quarterly. You get your check. You walk away. They take care of it. You have no expenses. You get to come use it for 3 weeks out of the year. And they have one of the most comprehensive wellness programs on the coast. They've got the best cacao body massage I've ever had in my entire life. So that one, if you compare apples to apples, trying to buy something on the beach in California, you're not going to get a 3-bedroom, 3-bath for that kind of price. So come on down, and it's fabulous. And then there's another one that's slightly less than that. It's under $400,000, about $375,000, in a hotel program also in the town of San Juan del Sur. And that one is gorgeous as well, using a lot of the Nicaraguan local finishes and handcrafting. Again, finished and furnished. And that one is also in a hotel program, so you can lock and leave. And we find that when people want to first dip their toes in real estate in Nicaragua, sometimes that's what they're looking for, so that it doesn't require them to be here often, but yet they know it's being taken care of.
Wonderful. Boy, this is enlightening and exciting, too, at the same time. Nothing like bringing a different country, isn't it?
Well, and yes, we'll get into this, I'm sure, Joe, because you're the money man. But we'll have to ask Gail after we get through with these amenity questions.
Right.
Just, is it better to just get the cash and go down there and buy all cash, or just how they do that? But
yeah, no, absolutely. This is wonderful. What do you see as the trends for the future of the country real estate there, Gail? I mean, for markets and offshore buyers. I mean, this is the part that we'd love to be able to bring this to our listeners in the United States, and for that matter, all over the world via the podcast here.
Sure. Well, usually until now, we have seen sort of the first wave of investors was kind of the early adopters, the backpackers, the surfers, people who just kind of were the pioneers. And now what we're seeing, which is so much better, is that these gated communities are coming online with so many more amenities. So what's happening is that it's easier than ever to retire to Nicaragua. And the retirement program for retirees is so easy, and it's such a low qualification. In order to have a permanent visa here in Nicaragua as a retiree, you only need to have $750 a month income and prove it, like through your Social Security or a pension or something. It's one of the lowest, if not the lowest in the region of thresholds. So we're seeing retirees start to come here. The low cost of living also helps with that. The other thing, as I mentioned before, we're seeing a lot of second home or investment properties, the lock and leave kind of thing, where you can leave it behind and somebody's taking care of it for you, or even renting. And those two things are kind of coming up in Nicaragua. Those are the buyers we're starting to see more of these days.
Well, Gail, one of the things that that kind of comes up is there are some distinctions when you move offshore, and a lot of people kind of rely on what they think they already know based on their experience either in the United States or Canada or Europe, and that's not necessarily so. And you've put together a great list. We're not going to be able to cover it all from a timeline standpoint, but the list kind of gives you what you need to be aware of, what you need to think about. Why don't you pick a couple of the key elements, and then we'll tell people how they can get a copy of that list from you.
Sure. This is a list I share with anyone who is my client. I love to share it because we get accustomed in the U.S., I'm a U.S. citizen even though I haven't lived there in 20 years, we get accustomed to safety nets that we don't even realize we don't have when we leave the U.S. border. And my top two would probably first begin with the legal system. Here and throughout this region, we have what is called civil law, and in the U.S. we have common law, and they are completely different. Your title deeds are the same here. You have fee simple title just like back home, and the deeds give you the same rights, but the process of purchasing is very, very different. So what we do here in Nicaragua with my team and at Sotheby's is we hold your hand right up till you have the deed in your safe and everything's registered. That's really, really important because if you don't know one of the steps, you can miss out on something that gives you the property rights you should have. And then the second one I would say that's also equally as important is that we are a third world country. We're emerging. Our real estate market is emerging now. But because of that, we do not have an MLS or a multiple listing service. So it's important to work with somebody who knows the market and the people in it. Because you might come down and you might say, I have X number of dollars and I'm kind of looking for this. And because there's no MLS, we can't just go on our computers and search and find the right thing for you. We have to know every inch and every grain of sand of this market. We also have to work with everybody else. And there are many brokers here who don't. It's always easy to take one of your own listings and try to sell it. But what we try to do is find exactly the right person, exactly the right property for the right person. So it takes a little bit of background work and contacts on the ground to get through that. Those would probably be my top two.
Well, Gail, how do they find you? I mean, this is the most wonderful list that you've put together here. I mean, the fact that you don't have somebody holding your hand always and taking care of things always. How do people get in touch with you who will hold their hand and your team?
Well, thank you for asking. They can reach me generally by email is the best way. My email is gail@nicaraguasir.com. That's Gail. And Nicaragua, sir, as in yes, sir, for Sotheby's International Realty. And my phone number down here is country code 505. My number is 8100-2857. And if you get in touch with me, I have all sorts of easy ways to phone you back or email you. And I am happy to share any of this information that we've talked about today, and happy to have just a quick chat with somebody who might have questions about Nicaragua real estate.
Oh, that's wonderful. Gail, that list is going to be a great help, and I can tell you're a great helper, too. You're taking a broad look at everything that people need to know there. So one of the things that we really wanted to just mention for our audience is not only did Bobbi receive that Outstanding Service Award, but she also received her designation for Certified International Property Specialist at that National Association of Realtors event. It's a very concentrated training program providing almost a degree in international realty. It has an audience of over 3,000 members around the world, and a lot of people find that going to these people that have this CIPS designation as the go-to people when they're looking for international real estate. So, Bobbi, I'm kind of leading into the fact that maybe you should give your contact information as well.
Sure, it's Gail and Bobbi team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you can reach me at 650-346 5352, or you can do Bobbi, B-O-B-B-I, at bobbidecker.com. And really, guys, make sure that you contact somebody who knows a Gail. Call me. I can get in touch with a Gail. You don't want to go to these countries because you're so used to being able to complain to someone who cares, right, Joe?
That's
and
right.
how would they contact you if they want to get cash out of their house and then go see Gail?
Then see Gail.
Exactly.
Yeah, be sure to do that for sure. And I would also say, this is an example of the network I wanted to say before I give the contact information. This is another example of bringing the network together. You bring Gail from Nicaragua with Sotheby's, and now we could bring that to the U.S. and vice versa. So, yeah, anyone that needs financing on purchases, any reason at all, or to contact Gail before you do that, Joe Cucchiara, you could reach me at 408-838-9060, or, again, you could always go to reradiolive.com. Well, we're going to close it out today. It's been a great interview. Gail, I want to thank you again for joining us. It was certainly our pleasure, I should say, and I know that our listeners are really, really going to get a lot of value out of this interview. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thanks, Gail. We'll see you in the spring.
Yes, we will. You guys take care.
Thank you very much. Again, this is a podcast series for Joe Cucchiara alongside Bobbi and Buddy. Real Estate Radio Live bringing you to the podcast. Again, for more information, you could go to reradiolive.com. Have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at reradiolive.com.